How was the experience of meeting Hrithik Roshan today?
It was wonderful. Felt very welcome here, and great to see the excitement and enthusiasm.
And Tamanna Bhatia is very keen to be working with you.
I would love it. I said her agent should reach out.
How important is the human element?
Without the human element, the spectacle doesn't matter. And so there has to be a story that engages you first.
What are your views on the language of visuals vis-a-vis words?
Tell you the story just from the visuals. You should be able to know what's going on, even if you're not hearing any sound at all.
Some of the actors that are going to be coming in the Rings of Power, I think that they're relatively new. Do you think that there'll be new stars after this?
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee you'll be seeing these people not only in this show, but in many shows and movies for years to come. We have this JD, and the Rings of Power is going to be a sensation September 2nd on Amazon Video. Pleasure having you with us on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you,
Faridoon. Great to be here.
All right. How was the experience of meeting Hrithik Roshan today?
It was wonderful. Felt very welcome here, and great to see the excitement and enthusiasm.
And Tamanna Bhatia is very keen to be working with you.
I would love it. I said her agent should reach out.
All right. Now, the sort of scale that is there as far as the Rings of Power is concerned, it's totally unprecedented. Do you think it's going to be a beginning of an era as far as content consumption is concerned for people?
Well, I think we're seeing the merging of two art forms, really, of big cinematic blockbuster storytelling with long-form serialized storytelling.
Right.
And I think hopefully it'll bring the best of both worlds, where you can have the depth and richness of character and storytelling in the one, but also the scope and production values of the other.
While writing for something like this, what sort of considerations did you have as far as the community of the Lord of the Rings? Because I think this community can be as big as some of the countries.
Absolutely, yeah. We're very fortunate to have a very active fan base, and we started every single day of the writers' room by reading a quote from Tolkien. Because we wanted to get ourselves in tune with that special spirit of Middle Earth.
Right.
And so we'd spend time really immersing ourselves and thinking about and living in the words and the world to make sure that we were staying as true to Tolkien as we could.
How important is the human element in a spectacle like the Rings of Power?
Without the human element, the spectacle doesn't matter. And so there has to be a story that engages you first. So we really tried to break it down and take it to the human story of, think about your family, your community, your job, your children, just all the things that matter most to you in life. And then suddenly imagine if those things were all going to be taken away. The question that this show sort of asks is how far into the darkness might you step in order to protect the things you care about most? Then we have romances and people who have different ambitions and struggles and frustrations. So they're all very emotional human stories. Then you have a lot of big spectacle that hangs on top of that. But without the human story, there is nothing else.
In India, it's releasing in 30 languages. It's as good as 30 countries as well because of the diversity that India has. Do you find that fascinating?
I find it amazing, and I think Tolkien would too. I mean, Tolkien created a dozen languages just in his world alone, and he was a linguist primarily. And and I love languages. I love learning about all the differences of where they come from and etymology, and when you speak a language, it opens up an entire people and an entire culture to you. So I speak half a dozen languages myself. I don't speak any dialects of Indian, unfortunately, but I'm fascinated with what linguistic diversity there exists here.
What are your views on the language of visuals vis-a-vis words?
In terms of, that's an interesting thing in general in cinematic storytelling is that you, primarily it's a visual medium, and you're telling stories by telling moving pictures. And in some ways, language it came along later. I mean, the first film for the first 30 years of its existence was all silent. Some people say that movies never recovered from the introduction of sound and of language, which can be a crutch sometimes because a truly cinematic story can tell you the story just from the visuals. You should be able to know what's going on, even if you're not hearing any sound at all.
You said at the press conference that about the political and the cultural and various elements that are happening in the world and how they impact you. When you're telling a story, how important is it for you to just just communicate to the world your own worldview as well as to the way you are looking at world around you?
Well, I mean, I think we really try to stay true to Tolkien's worldview. Certainly ours will be a part of it because we can't escape ourselves as storytellers. But it's those timeless themes of Tolkien that really fascinate us and that we think will really speak to the world's deep hunger because they've endured the test of time. It's the themes of friendship, of friends and friendship being able to overcome great evil. It's underdogs, so people who are small people who aren't necessarily up to great tasks, but who are tasked with doing something that's much larger than them. It's the stories of good versus evil. It's the story of the corrupting nature of power. And these are all sort of like these timeless Tolkienian themes that we think speak so deeply to the human soul.
Right. Some of the actors that are going to be coming in the Rings of Power, I think that they're relatively new. Do you think that there'll be new stars after this?
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee you'll be seeing these people not only in this show, but in many shows and movies for years to come.
All right, and thank you very much. Lovely talking to you, and all the best wishes for September 2nd.
Likewise.
And I hope that you have a great time in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
you.
Really appreciate it.